Hi, it's Chris from thetraderguy.com taking a look at the Aussie dollar midday on the 13th. You can see that we've had a pretty wild day and not a huge surprise because remember, the Australian dollar is proxy for China. And the entirety of the market seems to be focusing on U.S. Chinese trade relations, which would make sense. Let's go back a couple hours and see exactly what happened. So, you can see that we rallied significantly after CPI numbers in America missed. And that makes sense. The US dollar would lose a bit of strength at that point. We were already rallying because of the US Chinese talks coming up. And that had people thinking, okay, well, Australia is going to send more hard materials, copper, iron, that type of thing to China. Demand for Australian dollar will rally, the US dollar falls, we go higher, and that makes perfect sense. However, when you look at the chart and you zoom way out, you can see, and this is granted, this is an hourly chart, but this gives you an idea of what's going on. 72.25 or so is resistance, and that's exactly where we stopped. Not a huge surprise. The doji here, spinning top, if you prefer to call it that, was right at resistance, and we have fallen. We're still in a very strong downtrend. There's a lot of noise here. Donald Trump tweets that he's not overly pressed to come up with a deal with the Chinese, and all of a sudden, expectations are sucked right out of the market. Makes sense. And this is why you don't fight the trend, especially in a news-driven market, which is what we have here. I think the Australian dollar will continue to sell off, and I think rallies continue to be selling opportunities. I fully think at this point, I have to go to the weekly on this one, that we're probably looking at a move down to about 70 before it's all said and done. Clearly, that was a strong attempt, but now we're showing quite a bit of resistance in this area from the previous week. The very bearish candle breaking the back of two hammers, all negative signs. I continue to sell rallies. I sent a signal out to my people earlier to sell at 72 and a quarter, take profit at 71.75, and that's essentially what we've seen. So I base that upon that cluster. I do think that there's further to go, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's a little choppiness in the short term. 71.50 will cause a little bit of support, but eventually I think we go down to the 71 handle underneath longer term. Not interested in buying it all. Quite frankly, if I'm going to short the dollar, I'm going to do it against another currency, maybe the British pound on good news of a Brexit rumor or something like that. I would not do it in the Aussie.